Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our third video for our weaving unit. For this video we're going to learn how to create or how to place our weft lines onto our cardboard loom. Now last video we went over the warp lines, which are our long vertical lines. We learned how to create those and add those onto our loom. Today we're going to learn how to do the horizontal weft lines. Now for these materials what you're going to need are yarn, more yarn, pair of scissors, maybe a pencil, maybe, and your cardboard loom. Make sure it's yours and it has your name with the correct period number on it. Now to begin with, at the front of my room, there are boxes of yarn, like this, Ziploc bag boxes. You'll find little tiny bundles of yarn, about 2 feet of yarn in each one of these little bundles. I want you to select your color scheme, colors from your color scheme. So for me, I'm going to make my loom have a warm color scheme. So I chose colors like magenta, red, and yellow. Now you selected your yarn, you got your materials all together. You see, you're going to find the top of your loom. Make sure the top of your loom has the knot on it. Okay, this is going to be the top. Wherever your last knot was for your warp lines, that is the top of your loom. Then I want you to select one of your spindles or little bundles of yarn, unravel, okay, just that wrapping in the middle. Now, first step, okay, you're going to lift up the warp line, the opposite of the knot. So all the way on the other side of the knot, that's the line I want you to lift up. Slide, and get you a good look at that. Slide your weft line, your first color, underneath the warp line, so it should look like that. Tie a little knot. Okay, so that's nice and secure. Now, one thing I want you to remember is for weaving, or when we create weaving, or tapestries, textiles, things like that, fiber art, you're going to follow a pattern called over-under, okay? And that over-under pattern, it's like you should start staying in your head. It just comes this little rhythm pattern, just beat in your head, okay? So we consider our knot to be the over. So what we're going to do is we've just gone over. We're going to lift up string number 2 and go under with our bundle of yarn. Over. Now we're going to go over, lift up number 4, under, over, under, over, under, and I'm just saying it right now just so you can see visually and hear it. Over, last one, under. Okay. Now I've got all this yarn right here, a little bit of a loop right here. What do I do? Well, what I'm going to do is put my finger on top of the knot. What I'm going to do is put my finger on top of the knot and push, or I'm sorry, pull the yarn rather, like this, just a little soft pull. I want my lines, my warp lines, to stay nice and straight. I don't want to pull too tight or I'll get a loom that looks like this, that got too skinny in the middle, and I'm not going to be able to use it for things like cell phone sleeves or tablet sleeves or necklace designs, things like that. All right, now that you've held it down with your finger in one spot, give it a nice little soft tug so it's all nice and even right there. We're going to learn how to make a turn. Now, to make a turn, we got to do the opposite of what we did up here. I went under on my last warp line. Now I need to go over. So I'm going to do the opposite for row number 2. Over, lift up, under, over, under. Go. There we go. Okay. Oop, I'm pulling too tight. Let me unravel a little bit more. Okay, again, I'm going to pull my finger right here to make sure I don't pull too much of it or too tight. And I'm also going to comb it up just a little bit with my finger so it helps keep my designs, my line, my weft lines really close together. A little bit tighter. There we go. All right, next turn. Got to do again. Remember, the next row has to be the opposite of the one you just did. So I just went under. Now I got to go over. Lift up row number, or weft line, warp line number 2. Go under, over, over. Okay, so now that I've come to the end of my yarn, what my next step is, is adding another color or another piece of yarn of that same color. But for my design, I want to change up the color. So I think I'm going to go to probably red. No, I want to do yellow. There we go. Again, I'm going to unravel that part in the middle. Now to attach or secure your new piece of yarn, what you're going to do is twist, do a little twist, see how it overlaps like that? And then tie like you would tie a shoe, okay, through the little rabbit hole. All right, and now you remember, you are getting graded on craftsmanship. So there's 2 ways to go about getting good craftsmanship on your loom, and I'm going to show you that very shortly. For now, we're just going to leave this string kind of excessive right there. All right, continue on with the back. Pause right there. I went and I noticed, if I go back, I accidentally went under 2 pieces of warp line. So what I need to do is I actually have to go back and unravel or pull out that last piece. And so what I'm going to do is I have a pencil. This is where your pencil comes in handy. I'm going to slide the pencil underneath all the ones I went under to begin with. And I'm going to lift it up. There we go. And it just makes it an easier pace, easier way to get the yarn back out now that the yarn, your warp lines are being lifted up. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so at this point I am ready to finish my loom. Okay, I've filled up my warp lines as much as I can. I'm very close to the stop line, so I've got about 1 inch or so to work with at both top and bottom of my loom. Okay, so I'm at the end. Here's the end of my string, and we're going to do just like we did for the very first string. We need to tie the end of our string to our warp line. So I'm going to go under. Well, for this particular one, I'm going under, pushing it under, and then I've made a little loop right here. Can you all see that little loop? I am going to pull the yarn end through that loop, making a knot. I'm going to do it one more time, double knotting it. Just to make sure it's nice and secure. There we go. Little knot at the end of my warp line. Now that we've got that tied off, we're going to talk about craftsmanship. Now remember, you are being graded on how clean this looks, your presentation of it. So we've got all these little frayed ends where we've tied or connected new pieces of string. What you can do is either, using your pencil, kind of tuck in these end lines to the inside weft lines of your loom. That's not my favorite piece because the inside still kind of looks a little scraggly and you can see those little frayed marks here and there. What I like to do is actually cut them down. Cut them down to be small, very small. Gives it, I think, to me a little bit of a cleaner look. And I'm going to do that even to the end of this one, the end line right there. All good, they're all trimmed up. Next step, taking it off the loom. Real simple. Remember those little horizontal lines you made earlier when you were making the warp lines, weaving your or creating your loom? We're gonna pop those, bend those over, pull them off, pop them off. Woo, that one's giving me a little bit more trouble. There we go. Sometimes it does help to bend the cardboard piece down. All right, so our loom is now, or our weaving is now loose on the table. What do we do? Well, you've got these little loops, okay? You can either tie them as they are right now, pinch 2 together and tie them off, tie it to the next, its neighbor. That is one way to tie off your warp lines so that your weft lines don't fall off. My personal choice, my personal preference when I'm making this is I like to cut the loops. Almost giving it a fringe look. And then tie those pieces together. Little double knot. It does give it a little bit of a fringe look, like a little blankie or blanket. Oh my gosh, using baby talk today, Miss Thomas. There we go. Little frayed look. And you can always trim down those little ends, yarn ends. And there we go. We have your finished weaving. Textile fiber right there. All right. Looks nice and clean. Oop, little scrap. There we go. Hey guys, good luck.